Hi, I'm Mr. Kangas, and today we're going to be taking a look at Chapter 11, Section 3. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the volume formulas for both cubes and cones. And the reason why we're discussing the volume formulas for both cubes and cones is because they have the same formula, which is written up here on the board. That formula is 1/3 times big B times big H. And we discussed in previous videos that big B means area of the base. Okay, and we discussed also that big H means height of the 3D solid. Okay, height of the 3D solid or the 3D figure. So height of the pyramid, height of the cone, height of the prism, whatever it may be. Big H represents height of the 3D solid, 3D figure, whatever you want to call it. So the reason why this formula applies to both cones and pyramids is because big B changes depending on what your base is. Now with a cone, all cones' bases are always circles. So when we're talking about the area of a cone, we are actually doing 1/3, and if I replaced B, I would be doing 1/3 times pi r squared times big H. Okay, so I would replace big B with the area formula for the base, because big B means area of the base. And for a cone, which looks kind of like this, okay, the base is always a circle. So replace big B, which is area of the base, with the area formula of a circle. So this would be the actual volume formula for a cone if you were to replace big B with the circle's area formula. So it would be 1/3 times pi r squared times H. Now the same formula also applies to a pyramid. Okay? The difference between a cone and a pyramid, however, is a pyramid will never have a circular base. A pyramid can have all kinds of different bases, but it will never have a circular base. And so the reason why we leave the formula as 1/3 times big B times big H is because there are so many different types of pyramids out there that have different bases, that there's actually a bunch of different formulas that would apply to the pyramid. For example, right here I have a rectangular pyramid. The base is rectangular on this pyramid, so the pyramid's volume formula would be 1/3 little b, little h, big H. So to find the area, okay, to find B, big B, to find the area of the base, I would have to do little base times little height. Or in other words, the base of my base and the height of my base, or length times width. So you could also write this as 1/3 length times width times height. And that would be the volume formula for the pyramid that I'm currently holding. You find the area of this base, which is base times height, and then you multiply that by the height of the pyramid, and then multiply that by 1/3, and you'd have the volume of my pyramid. If I had a triangular pyramid, so if my base was a triangle instead of a rectangle, okay, I would have 1/3, I'll erase this one, I would have 1/3 times 1/2 base times height times big H. This is the area of a triangle. Right? So if I had a triangular base, that's how I would find the area of that base, or that triangular base. Then I'd also have to multiply it by 1/3 in height of the pyramid. And I could keep going. I could include formulas of pyramids for pentagonal pyramids, octagonal pyramids, hexagonal pyramids. So there's a different formula for each one. So the basic formula we're looking at when it comes to volume of pyramids and cones is 1/3 times area of the base times the height. So in order to understand volume, it's going to be really, really important that you understand all of your area formulas, and hopefully you have them memorized to some degree, because it'll make your life a lot easier. It'll make the math go by a lot quicker. Now, I also want to take the time in this video to not only discuss what the volume formulas look like, but I also want to talk about why it is the volume formula, why the volume formula is 1/3 times the base times the height. We, in previous videos, have discussed why the prism formulas worked, and we discussed why the cylinder formula works. And so the explanation for this formula is actually not a whole lot different, because if you remember correctly, volume formula for a cylinder and a prism was just area of the base times the height of the cylinder or prism. So really, when we look at this formula, this big B times big H actually represents area of a cylinder or prism. The multiplying it by 1/3 is telling us that this pyramid, its volume is equal to, okay, the volume of this pyramid is equal to 1/3 the volume of a prism or cylinder with the same base and the same height. So what I've done here is I've constructed a rectangular pyramid out of cardboard, and then I put electrical tape around it. So this is the rectangular pyramid, and this here is the rectangular prism that this rectangular pyramid goes inside. This rectangular pyramid literally has 1/3 the volume of this rectangular prism. This rectangular prism, as you can see, if I put my pyramid inside here, this rectangular prism has the same base as my pyramid. It also has the same height. If I push on this, okay, my pyramid won't go in anymore, because the top point of my pyramid is hitting the top point of this prism. So this prism has the same base and the same height as my pyramid. The volume of my pyramid, if I were to fill this up with rice or sugar or water, and if I poured it into this prism 3 times, it would fill up this prism, because the volume of this pyramid is 1/3 the volume of the prism that has the same base and height as my pyramid. And this is the prism that has the same base and height. You can see that this prism has the same base. Okay, it's got the same base, and it's also got the same height. Okay, I don't know if I'm lining that up correctly, but you can see that they do actually have the same height. Okay, so all this is telling us is that pyramids and cones, okay, have 1/3 the volume of either a prism or a cylinder with the same base and height. Now for the cones, okay, the cones are 1/3 the volume of a cylinder with the same base and height. With the pyramids, it's 1/3 the volume of a prism with the same base and height. A pyramid will never have be 1/3 the volume of a cylinder, because a pyramid will never have a circular base like cylinders and cones do. So the cylinders and cones kind of go together, and the prisms and the pyramids go together. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of why the formula works. This is very similar to the idea of the triangle and the square. The rectangle or square's area formula is base times height, and the triangle's area formula is 1/2 base times height, because the triangle is actually half of a square or rectangle. We talked about that in chapter 10. This is the same concept except with volume. and with 3D figures. So the pyramid has 1/3 the volume of a prism, and the cone has 1/3 the volume of a cylinder. So that is all for this video. In the next video, I'll be doing some examples where I'll be plugging in numbers to the volume formulas and showing you how all of that works. It's basically just a bunch of multiplication.